Good morning, children. So, where were we? Page number 30, right? Yes. In the previous class, we have discussed until the topic effects of revolution, and then we saw seasons. Today, let us discuss equinox, spring equinox. Let's see what does that mean. On 21st March, the sun is directly overhead on the equator. So every place on earth has 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. This is called the spring or vernal equinox. Underline that. Starting from the first line on 21st March until spring or vernal equinox. Next, as the earth moves on, the northern hemisphere tilts more towards the sun and experiences summer. Alright, so basically remember this day, that date on 21st March, that is the date when the sun is completely overhead on the equator and we have 12 hours of complete day night and 12 hours of night, and which has been defined as spring or vernal equinox. And later on, gradually you can say that's the commencement of summer. Next we have autumnal equinox. On 23rd September, the sun is overhead on the equator again. On this day, the northern hemisphere has autumnal or fall equinox, while the southern hemisphere has spring equinox. Okay, mark the date, 23rd September. So we can, this is what, August, right? Yeah, next month you can experience this. So on this day what happens, 23rd September, the sun will be overhead again, and that is the day when the northern hemisphere has got you can say autumnal or fall equinox, and the southern they have got spring. So two different portions of the earth, two different areas of the earth will have different seasons. Next, solstice, summer solstice. When does it start? Let's see. On 21st June, the sun is overhead on the Tropic of Cancer. And where this Tropic of Cancer? The location of 23½ degree north. Underline that as well. And this is called the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. Because of the tilt of the Earth's axis, the circle of the illumination does not pass through the poles, and the places not of the Arctic Circle have 24 hours of daylight. Okay. Underline that sentence as well. Because of the tilt of the Earth's axis, the circle illumination does not pass through the poles, and the places which are lying on the north of Arctic Circle, they have 24 hours of daylight. 24 hours, no night. The sun does not rise or set on this day, but circles around just above the horizon. On the other hand, places beyond the Antarctic Circle have 24 hours of darkness. This is the longest day in the northern hemisphere, but the shortest day in the southern hemisphere. Underline that. The sun does not rise or set on this day, but circles around just above the horizon. On the other hand, as the northern hemisphere, you can say this, the places lying to the north of the Arctic Circle, they have 24 hours of daylight. Likewise, in short, if I tell you, northern hemisphere has got complete daylight, and southern hemisphere, you can say whole darkness. Not exactly southern hemisphere, that is the place which is beyond the Antarctic Circle. Okay, so the place which lies on the south of Arctic has got 24 hours of daylight, and the place which is beyond the Antarctic Circle, it has got 24 hours of darkness. So overall you can say northern hemisphere on this particular date, that is 21st June, has got the longest day, and southern hemisphere on 21st June has got the shortest day. Next we have winter solstice. Since the earth keeps revolving, the rays of the sun fall directly on the Tropic of Cancer, and on 27 December, this is the longest day in the southern hemisphere, but the shortest day in the northern hemisphere. Underline this. 22nd December. Longest day in southern hemisphere, shortest in northern hemisphere. It is summer solstice for the southern hemisphere and winter for the northern. On this day, the Antarctic Circle has got 24 hours of daylight, while the Arctic Circle has got 24 hours of darkness. It is just the opposite of what we read now. As because we just saw in summer solstice what happened, the Antarctic Circle, the places beyond that has got darkness. But here during winter, the places which lies near this Antarctic Circle, they have got daylight. Varying length of day and night. Is this the last topic? Yes. With that we will come to the end of the chapter, and even exercise just one. I just see only 3-4 questions are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, not much. So you will have very little assignment for the day today. Good. So this is what happens, if you don't pile up things, if you continue with the explanation and the exercise on a daily basis at your end, and the whatever I'm assigning from my end, if you complete the task, by the time we finish the chapter, you're done with the exercise as well. Alright, let's finish up this topic. Varying length of day and night. You may have wondered why the daytime is longer in summer and shorter in winter. This is because of the inclination of the earth on its axis. Underline. There are so many questions that this text has to offer us. So many things that we are getting to learn. We all know that summer has got, the days in summers are longer as compared to winter. But why? What is the reason? It is because of the inclination of the earth on its axis. During summer, you refer page number 31, figure 3.6. As I read, you can refer the figure also, the diagram. During summer, a large part of the northern hemisphere remains inclined towards the sun, so there are longer hours of daylight during summer. A large part of northern hemisphere, underline that, remains inclined towards the sun, so there are longer hours of daylight during summer. In contrast, a large part of southern hemisphere is away from the sun, experiencing longer hours of darkness, and therefore they have long nights. However, the areas around the equator have 12 hours of daylight throughout the year. So areas nearby the equator throughout the year, they generally don't have this, they don't face this with the thing which we face, like at times during summer the days are longer, during winter the days are shorter. So they don't have to come across such type of scenarios. The areas which is near the equator, they usually have 12 hours of daylight throughout the year. There's a table just below this, spring equinox, the one which we have read. What the text has done for you is that they have compiled in short, and they have made it in the form of a table, all these important points which I have asked you to underline. It's nothing new, so don't get confused. What are these dates again? This is just what we have explained. Like the way you prepare notes, so you can say this is a ready-made notes for you. Same thing is written out here. It becomes easier for you to study and remember things. Please mark the entire table is important. So let us see the chapter in a nutshell. Rotation and revolution are the two motions of the earth. Rotation is the spinning motion of the earth on its axis. One complete rotation takes 24 hours. Revolution is the motion of the earth in its orbit around the sun. One complete revolution takes about 365, 1 by 4 days. You remember some hours and minutes are also mentioned? Yeah. 365 days, 6 hours, 9 minutes, 9.54 seconds. Day and night are caused by the rotation of the earth. The rotation of the earth also causes tides. Seasons are caused by the tilt of the earth and its revolution around the sun. All places on the earth have equal days and nights on equinoxes. Solstices mark the longest and shortest day of the year. Glossary for you. Mug it up. Coming back to the exercise, fill in the blanks. If you see, we have number 3 for today. and 5. Only 2 fill in the blanks. Complete the sentence also. We have just 2. That is 8 and 9. Short answer. Question number C, we have only 1. That is question number 2. Only 1 question. And even answer the following question in detail. Just 1. That is question number 1. How is summer solstice different from winter solstice? That's all. And with this we come to the end of this chapter. Next class we shall begin a new chapter. Alright, go through the text and do the needful. See you in the next class.